Here are the ingredients you'll need. Salmon. I have about a little over 2 pounds of salmon. Culantro, also known as bandania, shadubeni, rakau. Hot pepper. You can use habanero, Scotch bonnet, or wiri wiri peppers. Caribbean pimento pepper, and this is optional because it's very difficult to find. And lots of garlic. Very ripe tomatoes for the curry. Your favorite curry powder, okra, also known as okra. And you'll need yuca, also known as cassava. Coconut milk or coconut cream. You can use the canned version, the block version, or fresh coconut milk. First, we'll rinse all the ingredients. I don't have any green seasoning, so I'll make a fresh batch, and this simple green seasoning is perfect for curries. You'll use bandania, garlic, about 12 cloves, and pimento pepper. If you don't have pimento pepper, you can use a red bell pepper. I'm not going to use hot pepper because that's something you want to control in your recipes, especially if you have a husband like mine who cannot eat it. I'm sure he likes it. Just large enough to fit in your food processor or blender. My food processor broke, so I'm going to use the blender today. You make do. Let's place this in. Add just enough water to allow it to blend. No water in the food processor. Rinse the fish briefly with the juice of a lime or lemon. You don't want to soak it too long to start the cooking process. And cold water. Make sure there are no scales. Just remove any slime and then you're done. Rinse it one more time with plain water. Next, I'll season with salt, Himalayan salt, about 2 teaspoons or less. I'll start with 1.5 teaspoons. The simple green seasoning we made, 1, 2, 3, and we'll marinate it a minimum of 30 minutes, and about 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. And I'll mix it, massage it in. It's going to be so delicious. And I don't think this is wild salmon. I did not specify to the husband that I needed wild. I'll marinate the fish and let me get the other ingredients ready. Next, I'll chop an onion. These are very large onions, so I'll only use 1/4 of this. My chopping skills are not that great, but it doesn't prevent me from making delicious meals. We'll chop the tomato, 2 very ripe plum tomatoes, hot pepper. I'm making this for myself so I can add a little piece. Alright, don't get too excited, Ria. This should be enough for me. I didn't use a lot of the seeds, so it's not going to be that spicy. And for the okra, just cut off the tips. If you slice it down the middle, it might get a little slimy. So just to prevent that, a little too slimy to prevent that, I'm just going to cut off the tips. At the same time, I'll do the prep for the oil down, the Trini oil down. And nobody attack me for Trini oil down. Each island will have their own variation of any dish, like curry or stew or oil down. It's not going to be the same in every island, and no one owns it. So no one attack me please for making Trini oil down. I've seen it on social media. Very disappointing. So this is the pimento pepper. There's also callaloo in Trinidad, callaloo in Jamaica. Each island will have their own type of fried bake, and each country in the world has their own variety. Let's embrace our differences. Makes the world a much more interesting place. And that's that. I'll do the onion, maybe 1/2 an onion, because I only have 2 pounds of cassava. And as you would see, I like a combination of ground seasoning as well as chopped seasoning. Texture makes it more appetizing, and the flavor as well. I'm going to do this smaller. Alright, and that's it. I just need to get some thyme from the freezer or outside or somewhere, I'm not sure yet. I'm going to save some of the chopped culantro for finishing. I'll also do another 2 pimentos for finishing. Maybe only use 1 for finishing. These things are very expensive and, as I said, very hard to find. Okay, so that's that. Let me go look for some thyme. I have some thyme in the refrigerator. It's dried, but it's still perfect. If your thyme looks like this, don't ever throw it away. It's still good. Just put it in a bag in the freezer. Here it is. And I got a little bit of thyme in the living room. The plant is not doing too well because I'm using it faster than it's getting a chance to grow. For the last part of the prep, I hope, we'll peel the yuca, also known as cassava. And yuca, cassava, is a root vegetable. And to peel it, you cut off the ends. Hopefully it's good. Always buy extra as backup, because sometimes when you peel it, it just doesn't look good. Cut it into small pieces. Just slide the knife under the skin and peel off. It's very easy and very satisfying. Save the skin for your compost. Let's try that again. When I'm managing the camera by myself, sometimes it's not in focus. So I have to stop and focus. Slide the knife under the skin and peel. You could remove the stem from the middle of the yuca. Here's the stem in the middle, but I don't want to break them up any smaller. Focusing, so see, it's right in the middle there. You can pull out that stem. But because these are already so small, I don't want to break them up any smaller, just in case it melts very quickly. You still want some texture to your oil down. Rinse it and keep it immersed in water to prevent it from oxidizing or getting black. I have some old spinach in the freezer that I need to use up, so I'm going to add maybe a cup as well in the oil down. This is optional, but it adds nutrition and flavor. And I'm using about ½ pound. If peeling yuca is just too much work for you, you can always purchase the frozen cassava yuca. You will find it in the freezer section of your supermarket, especially if you live close to a supermarket that caters to Caribbean and Spanish folks. So look for it. Makes cooking so much easier. For the last prep, I'll take a can of the coconut milk, place it in my blender, 4 cups hot water, and I'll blend and set it aside. Now we have all the prep ready, let's start cooking. I'll place this pan over high heat, bring it to temperature. I'll add a couple of tablespoons of oil. Next I'll add in the chopped ingredients, the aromatics. I'll give it a stir, cook it for a minute or 2. I'll add in the cassava, drained. I'll cook it for a minute, stirring. Coat it with the oil. Smells lovely. Very aromatic. Next I'll add in the chopped spinach. You can use dasheen bush bhaji or whatever type of bhaji you have on hand. It's still a little frozen, but it will defrost in there. Just raise the heat. Stir. Next I'll add in the coconut milk. Just enough to cover. I'm going to add the entire 4 cups. Let's see what happens. Add in salt. I'm going to start with 1½ teaspoons. You can always adjust at the end, but if we add too much now, there's no way of saving that. I'm just going to bring this to a boil, then I'll cover and simmer. And let's get started on the curried fish. Once it comes to a boil, cover, reduce the heat to low, and we'll check every 10 minutes or so. Let's get started on the curried fish. I'll add some oil, enough to cover the base of the pot. Put the stove on, don't forget, most important. Let it come to temperature. I'll add in the onion and the hot pepper. Once the onion is brown, add in the curry powder. Give it a stir. Cook for a minute or two. Add in 3 tablespoons of green seasoning. Stir. Smells pretty amazing. Then get a half a cup of water ready to add to the pot. I'm adding an additional tablespoon because I believe once we add the coconut milk, it's going to dilute the color and I don't want it to be too white. You always have to adjust based on the ingredients you're adding. Add half cup of water. Stir. And we'll cook until most of the liquid has evaporated and it becomes even more aromatic. Just want to continue to cook the curry to remove the rawness of the curry, to develop the flavor, to develop the color. Next I'll add in the tomato, the onion and the thyme. I'll cook it for a couple of minutes until the tomatoes start to soften. I'll reduce, the heat is on low right now. I'll check on the oil down. I've moved it to my smallest burner because I don't want that delicious coconut water to evaporate too quickly. I prefer to cook it very low and slow over a longer period. Okay, I'll cover, check again, another 10 minutes. I'll add the coconut milk, and this is about 2 cups. I'll add another half cup. Add salt, about a teaspoon. Remember the fish has salt in it as well. Give it a stir. I'll add the okra. Bring it to a boil. We'll wait a couple of minutes until it comes to a boil. Then we'll add the fish in. It has bubbled for about 5 minutes, very aromatic, very tasty. We're going to level up on the tastiness now by adding the salmon. Hopefully the 3 pieces will fit. Try to make it as small as possible. Use a bigger pot if you have to. Luckily this 3rd piece is very small. Try to fit it in nicely, perfecto. Make sure everything is immersed. Just add the seasonings from the bowl into the pot. That's deliciousness there. Now this is not something you can stir like you're stirring curry chicken. So we just got to make sure that it's completely immersed, submerged, coated with that curry sauce. Flavorful coconut curry sauce. Just pour the liquid on top of the fish. That's why we added enough liquid in the pot. And we'll cook that for about 10 to 15 minutes on very low, gentle simmer. You don't want to overcook the fish. So the heat is on low. Give it a chance for the flavor of the fish to be combined with the coconut curry sauce. And just pure magic is about to happen here. And I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to my lunch today. It's Valentine's Day. And I'm cooking for myself. I'm just going to taste it. Pretty perfect. Absolutely delicious. Okay, I'm going to cover and let it simmer. I'm just going to put a little extra water because I know as it sits, it's going to absorb this liquid. that's a total of about 3 cups, and always make sure you have enough salt when you're adding extra liquid. Let me taste it for salt one more time. We're putting a lot of love into this, and you'll get a lot of love from it. This is the art of home cooking. The cassava has been cooking for about 25 minutes on a gentle simmer. I'm going to check it. It's becoming nice and thick. The cassava looks maybe 75% cooked, but this is just too saucy. This is a soup. We want it to thicken. The spinach has defrosted, fortunately. I'm going to taste for salt. I forgot one thing, and that's adding a pepper in there, just to give it flavor without the heat. Never too late. Cook for about 10 to 15 more minutes. I'm going to cover it. I'm going to add just a little touch of salt. I think it needs about ½ a teaspoon salt more. I have no idea how much salt we added so far. Give it a taste. Just remember, when it reduces, the salt will increase, so you don't add too much at this point. Okay, loveliness. Cover and simmer for another 10 to 15 minutes. And here it is. It's well seasoned, it's tasty. The taste of the coconut does not overpower the taste of the fish. We want a coconut flavor, but not, overpowering. We're not making curried coconut. We're making curried salmon with coconut milk. It should have a hint of coconut milk. Now we'll finish off with the chopped bandania and the pimento pepper. We'll add a bit of the bandania, the chopped culantro. Leo is barking upstairs. And that's it, we're done. So simple, so delicious. The sauce has thickened nicely, and you know it's done when the sauce is thickened and the salmon has changed color. Okay, now I'll take off the stove. This will be a perfect complement to our cassava oiled down. Stove is off. This will also go great with rice or sada roti, boiled ground provisions, dumplings, boiled and fried dumplings. Let me know below how you love to eat your curried fish. The cassava's been cooking for about 45 minutes. 40 to 45 minutes. I'm going to add a little bit of butter. Traditional to add golden ray, but I don't use that stuff. Keep it clean and healthy. So this just has to thicken now. The cassava is tender. It's fully cooked. The sauce has thickened up. I want it a little more thick than this. We're not making a soup. The timer is about to go off. That's the timer. Leo is barking at the birds, but he only barks when I'm cooking because he thinks he's gonna get some. So I'm gonna give this about 5 minutes more, and then we'll plate and eat. So yummy and delicious. I'll add some chopped pimento and bandania just to finish it off. A little fresh flavor at the end, and keep in mind that it thickens as it cools. Usually in Trinidad, the cassava melts really quickly and nicely, and it becomes buttery, but we gotta make do with whatever we have here in North America. We're just allowing the liquid to evaporate a little bit, and then we're done. And that's all there is to it, my sweet friends. If you enjoyed being in the kitchen with me today or learned something new, please like, share, leave a lovely comment below, and subscribe if you wish to see more. Until next time, stay safe, be well, cook, share, and love. Bye bye.